PBS.
This might interest you.
That's a known symptom of inhalation anthrax.
Well, what happens if she's wrong?
She's been right about everything else.
I bet you'd be willing to infect people with anthrax.
It's not here.
How am I supposed to investigate? You're not.
I think the answer's in the restricted part of the archive.
I warned you. There's 2 more confirmed cases.
Sunday night at 8, here on WPSU.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Happy birthday!
What's she doing here?
Geordie invited her.
Is there anyone you didn't invite?
Why aren't you grabbing this with both hands?
You clearly like her.
I can explain.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We need them to start talking. I should find out what she wanted to say to me, shouldn't I?
Grantchester, on Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday night at 9, here on WPSU.
WPSU is celebrating 60 years of service to our community this year, and your support makes it all possible. Join me in celebrating by donating at WPSU.org. Thank you.
Next time.
Oh, this is a doctor's surgery.
Not anymore. Permanently closed.
Martin and Louisa are moving away from Port Wen.
Just one last patient, then.
One last idiot.
And not everyone is coping.
Just keeping myself busy by cleaning some coins.
Try not to think about it. That's the best way to deal with uncomfortable emotions, isn't it?
Plus, there's a problem.
James won't leave without chicken.
Louisa, we can't be held to ransom by a dog.
Doc Martin.
Sunday night at 7, here on WPSU.
Support for the Weather World Forecast Brief on WPSU comes from Everett Cash Mutual. Information at everettcash.com.
After finally getting a break from the storms for your Tuesday, we're going to reintroduce those shower and thunderstorm chances for your Wednesday. Temperatures generally in the mid to upper 80s across the state, but the bigger risk, aside from the heat, will be those shower and thunderstorm chances. I expect the best chance for those thunderstorms is to be across central Pennsylvania, and many of those storms could be on the stronger side, bringing gusty winds and very heavy rainfall, especially any storms that pop up across eastern Pennsylvania. Any of those storms, if they sit over you for long enough, could pose the risk for localized flash flooding. And then come Thursday, we'll have one more chance of those storms before going into the weekend. We will see the heat really begin to ramp up ahead of the cold front with temperatures in the 90s across the lower Susquehanna Valley. And those showers and thunderstorms, they'll be scattered in nature, but they'll sweep their way across the state from west to east. For Weather World, I'm Quinn Mulhern.
This is WPSU TV Clearfield, an outreach service of Penn State.
Funding for presentation of this program is provided by
2 retiring executives turn their focus to greyhounds, giving these former race dogs a real chance to win. A Raymond James financial advisor gets to know you, your purpose, and the way you give back. Life well planned.
I love seeing interns succeed. I love seeing them come back and join engagement teams and seeing where they go from there. I get to watch their personal growth. It makes my heart happy.
Funding was also provided by the Freeman Foundation,
the Judy and Peter Bloom Kovler Foundation, upholding freedom by strengthening democracies at home and abroad.
And now, BBC News.
Live from Singapore, this is BBC News. The US launches an investigation into unfair trade practices by Brazil in the latest move in a spiraling dispute between the two countries. US President Donald Trump says the first Patriot missiles that he promised to send to Ukraine are now being delivered to Kyiv. Rising pressure from UK lawmakers on the Trump administration to release files on disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. Plus, we speak to the Prime Minister of Tuvalu about a landmark visa scheme designed to help its citizens escape rising sea levels and migrate to Australia. And coming up on Business Today, NVIDIA's boss Jensen Huang is expected to address the International Trade Expo in Beijing as Washington confirms exports of its chips to China are part of ongoing negotiations. Welcome to Newsday. The United States will launch an investigation into unfair trade practices by Brazil, marking an escalation of President Trump's targeting of the country following last week's threat of 50% tariffs. The investigation will separate Brazil from the so-called Liberation Day tariffs that are being considered by the courts in the United States. The probe will examine if U.S. companies are being unfairly harmed by the policies of Brazil's government in trade practices. Well, with me here in studio is our Asia business reporter, Katie Silva. Katie, tell us more about this investigation. It seems that Brazil really does have the attention of President Trump.
That's right. So, of course, it was just last week we heard about that potential threat of that 50% tariff from the White House. We also heard from Brazil saying that they were going to reciprocate. A couple of sticking points. We've heard, for example, Washington accusing Brazil of performing a witch hunt on the former leader, Jair Bolsonaro. We've also heard them say that they're attacking US tech companies. As a result of all of this, they announced last week that they were going to potentially do this probe. Now we have this confirmation. We've heard from the US Trade Representative, Jamison Greer, who said that Brazil's attacks on American social media companies and unfair trade practices are harming American companies, workers, farmers and technology innovators, and that these practices go back decades. So now what we understand is that they first of all have to advise Brazil of this, then they perform some consultations. There'll be a public hearing in September, and they're going to be looking into a host of different things, from deforestation to electric payments to digital trade, and basically assessing whether or not they think Brazil's practices are harming US business.
Yeah, quite broad the scope of what they're looking into with this. On sort of the more sort of positive note, certainly from the US side of things at least, a trade deal has been at least agreed to, or seems to be in place for Indonesia?
According to a post by President Trump, that is the case, and he is certainly lauding it as a big success. He's posted on Truth Social calling it a landmark deal, saying that it opens up Indonesia's entire market to the US for the first time in history, according to him, and that it's 280 million people. He says as a result of, or as part